Hey there everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris Ormy, and today we're back with another first look review of Out of the Park Baseball. This time Out of the Park 19, the latest iteration in the baseball franchise, the juggernaut that cannot be stopped, it seems. And yeah, I haven't seen too much. I've looked at the trailer, I've looked at a couple of screenshots, but this is pretty much a blind review from what I can see as I see it, and what I've read about in a couple of screenshots from beforehand is all that's influencing me on this game so far. So, a couple of things to note is that there is an interview out with Marcus, who basically develops the game, Marcus Heinsohn, and you know, it's quite a nice sort of way that every time they bring out a new game, they do put up on their blog, which will be linked in the description below. They do an interview with him about sort of what his idea for the game has been and how it's changing and sort of what he's trying to do with it. So it's quite a nice story about the beginnings of this franchise, why he felt there wasn't something already in the market which fitted what he wanted, so he went out and made his own. It's a very familiar story if you're a fan, like I have been over the years, of Championship Manager and Football Manager. You know, the Collier brothers, they didn't have, a football/soccer game for those in the US. They didn't have one. They didn't have a simulation that offered the features and the depth and the quality and the accuracy that they were looking for. Marcus was looking for a baseball game, tried a few. There weren't those out there that satisfied his needs. So, out of necessity comes this franchise, and I'm going to call it a juggernaut because it has become a juggernaut in the industry. So a couple of new bits about Out of the Park 19. We'll just run through a couple of interesting bits first. They had a great success with the last game. They're really quite happy about sort of how that all went down, and they predicted the winner of the World Series. They predicted the Houston Astros to win it all last year, and of course they did. So that goes to show you some sort of accuracy that the game has got, and it'll be quite an interesting one to see if they can predict it again this year. So I think that's going to be on March 28th, 7 p.m. Eastern, on the MLB network. So, go check that out and see if they can do it twice in a row. That would be quite impressive. And they've also included in their press release here more than 120,000 players around the world, more than 3.5 million hours of the game played on Steam, which is a total of 405 years, and a record peak of just under 11,500 concurrent players on November 9th. So that's just absolutely amazing. South Korea's taken over from Canada as number 2 market for this game, so worldwide appeal. I know there's a lot of players in North America. America is of course the number 1 country for this game. Canada's down to number 3, but North America's a real stronghold. No South Korea. I know it sells in Japan as well decently, and Europe, there's other sports in Europe, so baseball's a little underrepresented, but they do seem to be making an impact in there as well. So that's quite interesting as well, that it really is a worldwide appeal that this game is starting to get. And I think even if you're not a huge fan of baseball, you don't know much about baseball, the quality, the production level, the accuracy of this kind of game, and in particular this series, what you're getting is a good product. So if you're slightly interested, it's a good way to get into it. So yeah, I quite like that. So 20 years of development pretty much now gone into this series. I don't believe any 2 series have been too similar. I don't believe they've had just data updates. They've had little bits here and there. Of course, they are partnered up with the MLB network for a few little things, and they do have a partnership with Major League Baseball itself. Of course, this is a sponsored game by them. The baseball, the MLBPA, the Players Association, is also involved in it. And new this year, they're teaming up with EA Sports to put the game up on Origin. So they're expanding where you can get the game from. So I believe they can get them from their own website. It's available on Steam. Now they're opening it up to the Origin market. So no matter what your preferred platform is, there's a way to get this game, and that's a pretty cool thing as well. I quite like that. One thing to note in the interview towards the end, Marcus says, soon we will announce a very special new game mode that will come to Out the Park 19 a bit after release. Interesting. Very interesting, holding something back to work on it. You put the main game out there. The mode will accompany the core OOTP experience and open up the game to a new audience. We're very excited about it and can't wait to show it to our community. So that's a very interesting piece there, and I'm going to be interested to see exactly what that is and how it works. So we'll figure out what we can do and how we can do it. And now we know the name, and you've seen the graphic on that startup screen. That's quite interesting. It's called Perfect Team. And online leagues, create a dynasty, become a legend, etc. It looks like there's cards in there, so a little bit like Ultimate Team from the EA Sports franchises. So that could be quite good. I know that's a huge part in Madden. It started off in FIFA. Madden, it's got a huge following. It's starting to take off in the hockey games that they have going on. And now it looks like Out of the Park is going to fulfill the baseball need for that aspect as well, of being able to collect and develop and grow an online team. Build your own franchise and play against other people. So that's going to be an interesting little feature. Like I say, we don't know too much about it or how it's going to work, but I'm a fan of that. So once again, just expanding, on what they give you for your money. So, I believe it's 10% off. I believe it's down to $35.99. So, I'm not sure if that was just a pre-order, if it's hanging around a couple of days into the main release. But it released yesterday. I got my copy late yesterday. Sadly, I had to go to work, so I haven't been able to put this up before now. But yeah, this is a very interesting sort of thing to me, that they've added a new feature and they've still continued to expand on what they've had before. So first impressions of the login screen, I quite like it. I think it's quite fun. Custom game, you got challenge mode up there, but then you can basically do absolutely anything you want. And you can see here, I'm just going to flick through the advanced settings and we can figure out kind of what all these are going to be. So we've got quite a lot here of just regular settings, and then you've got the advanced bit here about saving templates. That's quite nice. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Okay, so looking around a little bit, it seems that they've got all new 3D animations, which would be nice because I know a lot of people who have a few struggles getting into this, and these kind of games, they're very stat heavy. They're very sort of, very spreadsheety in a way, where you're dealing with a lot of numbers and a lot of variables and a lot of equations, and there's not a lot of graphical sort of interaction. There's nothing that kind of really grabs you too much. So working on the 3D engine and being able to, see your team play, see someone swing a bat and knock that ball way out of the park. I mean, that's a lovely moment, especially if you get to the World Series. There's a guy that you've drafted, it's bottom of the ninth, and he hits a walk-off homer. I mean, that's something you're going to want to see. That's just, I know that's not just me. That's the way it is. So it's nice that they've got those sort of features in and they're continuing to develop them. I believe all the stadiums have been redone and retouched, updated, more accurate, better looking there. The whole thing seems to be cleaned up a little bit as well. I know they're always working on that, trying to make sure everything is in a good place, all the menus are tidied. So we'll take a look at that when we get into the quick start game I'm going to load up now. But the opening day rosters, all the real major and minor leagues, MLB, MLBPA, and minor league baseball, all fully licensed, and international, independent, etc. Accurate rosters for many of those. Not all of those, but many of them. And I know the community likes to get on board and try and help out there as well. So the historical mode, that's something I'm always interested in because, 1961 New York Yankees, Maris, Mantle, house that Ruth built, going after his record of home runs. I love that story. I love that sort of period of baseball. It's very easy to romanticize those players. I can't say too much about that. So it's a very nice thing for me to be able to go and play that every now and again, as well as trying to rebuild some teams that aren't doing so well in current days. I'm a Colorado fan. I support all the Colorado teams in all the American sports. I made that decision let me think, 12 years ago, coming up to 12 years ago. And none of them were very good back there, but it was because the ice hockey team came down from Quebec. The Nordiques became the Colorado Avalanche. And I had a friend living in that area who I was talking to online. He kind of got me into ice hockey and watching it, which is very hard to do in the UK back then, but I did. Fell in love with that. Kind of adopted all the other teams, and we've had highs and lows. The Rapids, the Nuggets, the Rockies, the Broncos, very good until the last couple of years, and the Avalanche themselves. So very hit and miss along the way. But I know the Rockies have a couple of good players, so I want to see how they're developing in this game as well. Because, I think that's going to be pretty interesting to see. But the historical leagues, I believe it's 1871 to 2017, including Negro leagues, minor leagues, and all that goodness as well. We had the Negro leagues for the first time last year. They're back in this time, so very interesting time period as well to play in there. Of course, you can do everything that you used to be able to do before: signing free agents, trades, deciding to go into the draft and trying to figure out who you're going to get, how you're going to build your team, and all the rest of that. So a real sort of interesting dynamic of controlling every aspect of the team if you want to, or you can handle front office and allow the coaching to be done by the AI or vice versa. I believe so. There's quite a lot of ways you can play this. I'm probably going to be more of a GM only, because that's what I find really interesting. Off-season is my favourite time. You're coming off the playoffs, hopefully with a lot of success. But if you don't have that success in the playoffs, you don't win the big game, well, this is your chance to make everything right. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to doing. Like I say, the depth, the quality, the presentation, the AI's been overhauled, the 3D's been overhauled. So I'm very, very interested to see how this carries itself. And without further ado, let's go and take a look here then. So I've just loaded up the quick save. Takes a couple of minutes to load in the background, and we're going to look here then. So first name, last name, nationality. I love all these nationalities as well. They do provide you with quite a lot to be choosing from. There's very few that aren't here, and I like how they don't just put in Great Britain or United Kingdom. They actually split that up as well. So I can be Welsh, which I do appreciate. It's a little thing, but it's those small details that usually add up to a big experience. So there we are. GM and manager, general manager, or just manager, depending. Do you want to play more on game days? That's your managerial experience. Do you want to be behind the scenes in the front office, making all the trades and building the franchise? That way, that's your general manager kind of game. You want to do both? Then do both. So for this I'm going to look at both, but usually I would play that. I will play in commissioner mode. That kind of allows you to edit the game on the fly. So I mean, some people use it, some people don't. I like having it in there because you can just mess with things. You can add expansion teams, etc. You can also select not to be fired, so that's up to you. If you want a more realistic game, of course, turn these two off. Otherwise, go ahead. And now you can see here, this is the league select. So you've got Major League Baseball, then you've got Triple A's, Double A's, A+, A-, and Rookie Leagues. Internationals leagues here, as well as some more to choose from. But it depends. Like, if you want to play in the Eastern League, let's say you're a fan of the Sea Dogs, you can go and do that. But as I said, I am a Colorado fan, so I'm going for the Rockies. And there we go. It's just that quick to get into the game. And that's something I think is going to impress people, because over the last few years, some of these games have been a little slow in parts, and they've really started racking up a bit more of an impetus in getting that solved. So let's see here. Welcome to Colorado Rockies. Working relationship be good. So reach the playoffs this season. I think we've got a team that could do that. Sign Charlie Blackburn to an extension. Okay, I can do that. He's a good player, but I mean, at 31, I'd probably want to trade him and get a couple of rookies and some picks. And yeah, but if we're going for the playoffs, we should keep Charlie, and that'll be good. And then you can go and see your owner here, so you can see quite a lot about them. You can see your progress on your goals as well, and you can kind of figure out how you're doing. Even in a game where you can't be sacked, this is a good way to sort of see where you're going. And there we go. So I am taking over as the manager. So I quite like the look of this. I think this looks quite nice. You can figure out how much detail and depth you want from there. We can head back to the manager's office. You can see the next game up. See your standings and everything here. So quite an interesting thing. And of course, the tasks window here, that does allow you to do a few things, like keep track of stuff. If you're not sure what to do, this is a good place to go and find it. So you can see here there's a screen setup as well. We can sort of change the sizes of all these, and very customizable. I'd recommend getting your hands, just dive right in there and figure out what is what. But yeah, notes, always a good place. Keeping notes for this kind of thing. And then we go manager options, so we can change a bunch of different stuff here. Change your role as well, and the commissioner mode, and decide just how involved you want to get. But yeah, if you want to set someone else up, of course, you've got a quick link to see what they're good at, what their preferences are, and kind of how they can do things to help you if you don't want to do it all on your own. So you can see there, you've got quite a lot of different bits. You've even got your quick starts in there, Workshop Central, that'll take you over to the Steam Workshop if you have the game on Steam, and that will allow you to download a lot of fan-created uniforms, backgrounds, extra pictures, etc. So that's a nice place there. In the game here, you can explore the world a little bit, look at the almanac and the history, and try and figure out a little bit about baseball as a whole. Your manager list here, where you can figure out all your actions that you're going to need to do. You can also switch who you are managing, which I think is a very nice aspect as well. So yeah, I think that might be commissioner mode only. You got the league menu, you can figure out a bunch of different things there. Your team menu, nearly everything you need to look at is going to be under there if you're a general manager. And then the play menu, which basically you can jump to almost any part of the season and it will skip time up to it. So first things first, I'm going to take a look at the roster and see what we have. So Major League Baseball, you've got an active roster of 25, then you've got a 40-man roster for the season. So only 25 can be active at any time, but you put them on a 40-man roster if you might want to bring them up. From there, then you put them down in the minors from AAA all the way down. So you can figure that part out and decide who you want, where you want them. So I always take a look at the beginning of this game, look in your AAAs, look in your AAs, and try and find out, is there anyone here who might be best moving up somewhere? So I'm looking here and I can see straight away, you know, we look at our potential. Our big players are Charlie and Nolan. Now, I'm a big fan of Nolan, that's why I build around Charlie. The owner likes, we need to keep him. Then you got David Dahl there, who's an up-and-coming player. So I'm going to play him at left field. I'm not going to look elsewhere. But, you know, he is not the best. But one thing you see that we don't really have is a right fielder. So we got Cargo down there, but 32 now. He's dropping off quickly. And there isn't anybody else who is really going to be playing that role for us. So good catcher, a couple of good pitchers, a couple of good outfielders, decent second baseman and shortstop, which, you know, I'm happy with those guys. The Mayhew and Story I quite like. Nolan, as I say. First baseman, who have we got? Yeah, not much there either. So first baseman, right fielder, I think would be people I'm gonna look for. You can see we've got a couple of decent little pitchers here, though. So, Jairo Diaz, a Colombian. You know, 2-star now, 3-star potential. Is there anyone he could probably come in for relief pitching? Mike Dunn, I mean, that might be an upgrade there. Starting pitcher, we can get Senzateya out and bring in Marquez. So I might be looking to package up a couple of these players and maybe see if we can get some of these players up. But I quite like that. And then Brendan Rodgers, nice second baseman here, which when you look at the team that we already have up here, we've got 3 second basemen, but we've got an old guy and a young guy, and neither are gonna do the job. So for the future, I think Brendan can come through and handle that quite well. But we don't have that first baseman spot that I think is quite important. I do like having the infield really set up well. So yeah, you can see a big drop off here from third, second, and shortstop to the first baseman. And not much cover either, so we might take a look at that. But we do have Rodgers there. You can see we've got Garrett Hampson there. 1.5 to 3.5. And of course, Trevor Story's better now, but will not be better in the future. So over the next couple of seasons, it might be wise to trade out Trevor for Garrett. And then we've got a closer who's pretty decent. We've got another one over here. Centre fielder, relief pitcher. And the first baseman who, again, we might just want to promote Ryan McMahon onto the active roster. So we can see here quite easily. It's all on one screen. You can figure out who you want to build within your team, who you want to decide might need a year or two and they can stay down in the double or triple A's. And for me, it's very easy. I'm just going to drag and drop right over, and I'm going to get him into the double A's, because I think, McMahon, Marquez, Diaz, they might all be coming up at some point this season. Even these guys, I've got 6 people here I think I can build on. Yeah, I think I can actually build on. Can you play right field? Do you like playing right field? You hate playing right field. Okay, that's good. We're all good. Tapia does not want to play right field. And of course, I don't really want to move Charlie. He can play it, but yeah, might. I don't know. Cargo can play that right now. Then we'd be able to bring up Tape at the end of the season. Maybe it's an end of season move, not a beginning of season move. But maybe we get into the playoffs, we give Cargo one last shot at right field, and then see if we can trade him out. What's his deal like? So signed through 2018. So yeah, this would be the last sort of thing. But you can see he's well decorated. So Platinum Stick Award, All-Stars there, the Great Glove Awards, and the Platinum Stick there for center fielder. 2010, 2015. So yeah. But I do like as well with this game the little personalities that you've got going on. So you can see, he gets on with his teammates. He's extremely popular. He expects to be played in the middle of the lineup. He's durable. There's quite a lot about this player that you can see what we can, we can start building more than just stats from him. So you can see quite a lot where he's from and everything else. And you kind of put together this idea of what this player is like, and who he could be now and who he could be in the future. And I think that offers a little bit more than just sort of trying to predict stats, because you get this real look at what these people are like. Like I say, you can figure out, you got a leader there. DJ is a leader, we can figure that out. Decent teammate, doesn't sound great. Mild-mannered on and off the field, okay. So CI, you got the little nicknames up there as well. And I do believe that his storyline's turned on, so weird things can happen throughout the game. As you progress through time, you might find that they've invested in something, or they've decided to become a movie star. They might need time off to do this or that. But their personality will probably change over time, or can change over time, and you can see that sort of making more of an impact as time goes on, and I quite like that. I do quite like that. So Wade Davis, Wader, simple man, enjoys simple pleasures. It's got a mean knuckle curve, and I like that a lot as a closer. Good amount of stuff, not much movement. His control's a little iffy, but that's a knuckle anyway. It does sort of float all over the place, so you're gonna miss with some, but you're hoping to get them swinging. That's what you want to do there. Fastball cutter, not too bad, and yeah, you can see quite a lot about how the pitchers actually throw as well. So I'm quite interested. The Alex Zach, he fishes in the off season. So meat and potatoes, Scott Oberg. There we go. Likes to give a poker, does Jake McGee. Admires himself, Mike Dunn. Interesting. Dog lover, Antonio Senzaleta. Likes to do crossword puzzles, Jeff Hoffman, okay. John Gray is the last person you'd find in the tabloids. That's a really nice sounding one. That's a nice one. You got Free. Kyle maintains a clean-cut lifestyle. Okay, Chad's a good teammate. Enjoys a drink with his teammates after the game. So we're down now into some of the other guys in other teams. But you can also use the up and down arrows to flick through people. And this is how quick... That's how quick they kind of progress. And that's not bad. You know, I'm quite happy with that. The speed of the game, the look of the game. You can see the generated images. I feel that it is quite a nice one in that you do tend to get some, you know, improvements year in, year out. It just makes it easier to play the game when it looks good and when you can find things. There's a lot of menus, but if you hover over them, it'll tell you exactly what they are. They're split up. You can see my initials, so that's my manager stuff. MLB, so that's the league stuff. Colorado, that's the team stuff, and that, you know, that's the world, and that's autoplay until tomorrow. So you've got menus up here, you've got stuff down here. There's many ways to find what you're looking for. But, yeah, never a dull moment with Charlie. Yeah, it's never a dull moment, but I feel like he's going off the cliff and I've got to sign him to a new deal, and I don't quite like that. I don't quite like that. He's not got a lot of hitting ability. He's decent, but he's nothing amazing. He's nothing amazing on defense. So, yeah. Okay. But I think if we do re-sign him, he will end up playing probably left field at some point. Sorry, right field for us at some point. And, yeah, we'll get rid of Cargo at that point. Because, like I say, Cargo is kind of getting old now. And you can see his hitting power and everything. Not too bad, but not exactly great. And the other stuff, not good enough. Defensively, he's still got a good arm on him. I quite like that, but, yeah, no. I think Cargo might have to go at some point. This is probably his last season with the team, and then we can start moving people about. So let's get back to the home screen. So meet the team. You can see here top players, top prospects. It'll tell you who's who, and then something else that's really good at building your team has always been this screen. Nice to see that this hasn't changed too much. So they rank you in the league. Who have you got where? Charlie is the second best centre fielder in the league. So maybe there aren't that many good centre fielders, because I don't think Charlie looks that good. But I'm going to push him over to right field, and hopefully he would still be a good right fielder next season. And then bring through the youngster who can play centre field. Dahl, I didn't think Dahl was that bad, but he's got a bit of room to grow. Perhaps when he hits his full potential, he'll be decent. But I don't see any weaknesses with David Dahl. So I would be happy keeping him there at left. Trevor, 12th, that's decent. Nolan's the best third baseman in the league. DJ's in their top 10. Like I say, first baseman is something I really want to look at. CI is 8th. That's catcher. That's pretty good there. And not the best pitching talent in the world, but I think I'll build on that over time. So you can see here as well your coaches and try and figure out exactly how you can build a team. There's a lot of information on these screens that you can really figure out. So let's see. So Mike Redmond relationships. So who is Mike Redmond? He is the bench coach. So normal personality, conventional style. He gets on well with Chad, Free, John Gray, Hoffman. You know, quite a lot of these pitchers like him. In fact, all our pitchers like this bench coach. But only two players that I don't really see being on the team from the batting side. Really, ugh, they like him, so that's not good because he's upsetting CI, Nolan, Trevor, David, Charlie, and Cargo. Not really happy with that. So Trevor's a leader, Charlie's a prankster, Mike Dunn is quite selfish, and at that age I think we can be done with Mike. But yes, really nice way as well. We can keep an eye on any interesting things here. It's nice to get a spark plug in there, but we need to keep these 4 as empty as possible. Baseball cards, you can see Nolan. Or is it just everybody? No, it's not everybody. Everybody who has got one there. But we can make a team picture. I've never seen that. So let's see how this works. It did just say that they were disabled, so maybe we won't get a good picture out of it. Oh, there we go. So you can get a nice little team picture there. That's not too bad. That's an interesting feature. But yes, I want to delete that. And now you can see here a little bit more about the team and figure out a bit more on your depth. But I can look at all my players in the organization and try and figure out, okay, who's who. So let's go all the way up to the top here. So you can see if everybody's playing at their peak, David Dahl's going to grow into a really nice left fielder. Brendan Rodgers is going to be a really nice second baseman. So, when DJ starts to drop off over the next 2 years, we've got a replacement in there. So with a first baseman, we're really decent there. We've got a closer and starting pitcher. We've got another shortstop coming through. That'll be better than Trevor. Again, make that switch end of this season, maybe start it next, depending how he improves. We've got a young central fielder coming through, which means that, as I say, we can move Charlie over to the right. I quite would enjoy seeing that. And then a bunch of 3 stars, which is where you want your weaker players to be if you're going to be a dominant team. So we've got quite a decent amount there, to be fair. Our first baseman's actually growing. 1.5 star now, but will be 3 in the future. And if you look at our overalls right now, there aren't that many 3-star players in the club. It's Trevor, Brian, Jake, DJ, and CI. The only ones better than that is, Wader, John Gray, Charlie Blackman, and Nolan himself. So, yeah, maybe first baseman isn't as much to worry about. But it's all about bringing up McMahon and letting him play now as well. So in that case, if I've got a first baseman, I've got a second baseman and a development. I've got a great young third baseman. I've got 2 outfield positions. I need to find, I need to get him developing. Cargo for this season. So we don't need to make any changes there this season. We've got CI, who is old. I do need a young catcher. And I don't have anybody worthwhile. So catcher is something I need to take a look at. I need to get a younger prospect in there. But yeah, I think that's about it. So from the field side, that's not too bad. Pitching side, slightly different matter, I guess, because let's put all the pictures out there right now. You can see we're quite, well, not quite, we're very short on talent. So we got Shaw and McGee, who are decent relief pitchers, lefty and a righty, which is quite nice to have. We've only got 1 starting pitcher though, so that's a weak rotation we're going into. And Wade is a good closer, but he is 32 and costs a lot of money. So do we need to trade Wader out and see if we can get someone else in. Looks like Estevez is going to be growing a little bit, as is Diaz, Free, House as well can grow a little bit. Marquez can grow. So we do have some talent, but we don't have top-end talent. On the batting side, on the field side, we do have some good potential players. But on the pitchers, it seems a little bit weaker. So, as I say, maybe in that case we rely on what we've got, apart from a young developmental centre, and then go after our pitching talent and try and focus on that side of the game. But yeah, I'm really happy with that. As you can see, there's a couple of people to replace, but as I say, catcher and pitcher, so not too much of a surprise there. And so yeah, I think within a very short amount of time, we're able to see that, this isn't a bad team, it's not a good team. Should be able to get to the playoffs. Got a couple of holes which should be easily fixed. But yeah, we've got all our bits and pieces you can figure out here. You can look even deeper by looking at the minor leagues to see who might be coming up. So when Brendan starts developing a bit more, we move him up in a AAA. Garrett, Gyro, German, and Ryan, they'll all be coming up. Carlos maybe comes up as well. And Austin, even Tapia. I mean, we've got some good options there already. We'll bring one or two from here. In A+, we've got some decent players, so we could move those up into AA as well. And then not much after that. We've got a decent little youngster over there, so let's think about bringing that closer up. Yeah, let's bring him up. I'll throw that closer down. Keep everything at similar numbers. Promote a closer, send down a closer. I don't mind doing that at all. But for the same age, yeah, I like to see what he can do. He's got a bit more potential there. Let's see. Anybody kind of worthwhile? Yes. So you can see there, Montano, good centre fielder that we need to keep an eye on. He's way down in the system. We got International Complex. Doesn't really seem to be many players there. A ton of pitchers, but nobody that I would really worry about. So, okay. There's that. You can see the waivers. Trade status. The roster, the internationals over here. Yeah. So all the information seems to be pretty much like last year. It's been, I don't know, the whole game just feels cleaned up a little bit. It seems a bit tighter, a bit nicer presented. And yeah, with all the new in-game stuff, I think that's going to be absolutely fantastic. So we can ask our coaches to help us out there. Into the front office, we can change our ticket price. So we can go up to $26. Whoops. But yeah, we'll figure out how good that's going to be for us. See quite a lot here. We can set our budgets up and figure out how that impacts certain things. We can change our draft budget. We can change our player development and our internationals. So that's going to be interesting. But there's a lot of information here to break down. I'm not going to run through it all, but I'm going to flick through it so you guys can actually see what is what and where it is. And they do have this online thing here. So you can see here video tutorials on YouTube. There's the online manual. You've got all these different things. Their Twitch page, worth going and follow that. The community board, you can ask questions. Online leagues there. And, of course, the newsletter. But, yeah, there's all kinds of, very interesting things. You can take a look here. What's this mean? How does it mean it? How does it work? And gives you all the options, really. So it is an online manual. I know some people aren't the biggest fan of that, but I think it works really well. Allows them to update it and keep all the information current. You can see here we've got some very, very good scouts. They do tend to favor good players now rather than the future and the potential. But yeah, we do put a lot of money into scouting. Player development is there. And our personnel, you can see, looks like the coaching staff not the best. We could get a better trainer. Maybe one that is more preventative than recovery based. And then you can see here, do we really want to roll in with these fair and poor coaches? Or do we want to go see if we can replace them? So I think staff-wise, the team needs a bit of a shuffle. Great scouting development. I like that. Bill Schmidt, excellent. Fantastic. Happy enough to roll in with him. Trainer's decent enough. We'll see if we want to upgrade there. But the rest of these guys probably will be changed for my playthrough. And if you want to as well, you can start doing it elsewhere down the road. So, pitching coach, pretty decent one down there at the A level. Everybody else not so great, maybe. But now you can see a little bit about everything that this game has to offer for the team. So the off-season center, I think this is probably going to be the last little thing I look at in this mini review before I wrap up with my thoughts. Ooh, okay, look at that, a closer. We're looking for a closer because you've got a 34-year-old who is on 17 million. He's going to be out for 10 months, but if we can get a 2-year deal, ride that current guy, ride Wader at the moment, and then bring in Trev, that would be decent. A first baseman, no. So, 34. I want to get younger if I can. Tony Zinch, he might be a decent relief pitcher there. I can kind of bring him in. Off-season summary by team. You can see who has gained or lost players and their war score that actually has happened there. Let's look at the free agents. Who's the best of the best? Yeah, it's Trev. It is Trev. But I mean, you look here, there's a young relief pitcher who could be a good pickup for us. Tony could be another one. De Horta could be another one. Catcher, we do need a catcher. We are looking for one there. And we've got a 24-year-old with some decent potential there. So maybe. And there's not too much else on that list, but one catcher, a couple of relief pitchers, and maybe a closer to get ready for next season, not this year. That might be a bit of a fun one. So we're gonna have to maybe try and trade away some of our players to open up cap space. Upcoming free agents, so at the end of this season, see Bryce Harper, right field. I mean, we do need a right fielder, guys. We do need a right fielder. Oh, Manny's up. And anybody else young? Nobody else a stud in their prime? It doesn't really look like it. Yeah. So customize. We're going to customize by age. You can see everything here. that you can actually customize by, and you could do more than one thing. I'm just going to go age because I want to see is below 27. Yeah, it's just Bryce and Manny. So those are the two guys. Oh. No. So who's below 30 then? Okay, so a couple of closers are going to be there at the end of this season. Relief pitcher, catcher, and then the big two. Now, I don't think Manny would be a great fit because we already have a couple of decent shortstops. And I don't want to spend too much money there when we've got decent. Bryce could be a big impact out there. And I think we pick up our catcher elsewhere. But Cody Allen, end of this season, might be someone I would make a move for. That could be very well someone you make a move for, and then you can look down there. Nathan E, he's a decent player as well that we could pick up. Joe Kelly's over there. Couple more starting pitcher options. So, yeah, maybe we wait till the end of the season to rebuild a bit more in terms of the veteran pitching there. Maybe see if we open up enough space for a big Bryce Harper offer. Let's try and figure out what's that going to be? It's 21.5. I mean, who knows? Who knows what it'd take to land him? But Bam Bam being an awesome player to come down to us. Yeah. So we don't have a lot of space, but we do have moves we can make to get there. And of course the draft, that is going to be a big thing. 22nd in the draft order. That's not amazing. And yeah, you can see we've got some decent talent over here. We do have some decent talent. So let's see. I mean, sadly we don't really need too much in the way of scouting, but he is absolutely fantastic as a manager. We've got a couple of options there. So lineup, pitching staff selection, does not want the GM to interfere. That wouldn't be an issue for me. He values what the scouts say. We got good scouting there, so that's not too bad. Values that are average. Values power, offense, hitting. I mean, it fits what we've got at the club already, but I'm not sure I want to figure that out. But a good tactician. And there's Joe Girardi as well here. You can see more speed, on base percentage. I'm quite yeah, I'm okay about that. So he doesn't rate historical too much. But what they're doing last year was okay. This year has an influence, but what the scouts say is what he likes. I'm okay with that. Yeah, that might be a nice little option to bring in. You know, he was at the Marlins. He came in here and won the playoffs 2009 with the Yankees. He's out of a job, but yeah, that could be an interesting thing. So he should be average, yeah. Player development, excellent. That's nice. So, I mean, a couple of these are older players. I do like to build through youth, which it seems he would be okay with. He'd put David in one, DJ, Charlie, Nolan, Trevor, Cargo, CI, and Jordan back there. Yeah, seems like a decent little decent lineup. So maybe we get him in there. And then a trainer, you can see Healing back another really good. Healing the arms and limbs, not as good. But preventative is phenomenal. So Sam Conte might be someone who we look to bring in there, or maybe one of these other guys. So we've got a lot here. You can see the managers, a little bit about them, and what you kind of want from your managers and how they're going to be playing for you. And you can see as well on the bench coach who is who, what you might be looking for. General manager I like doing myself, but if you want to be a manager, pick someone who builds a club in your way and your style. So there we have it, guys. I think I know what I'm going to be doing, how I'm going to be building my roster. Less than an hour after firing the game up for a first time look, and I didn't play 2018 too much. I moved house twice. I did a lot of stuff, got 2 new cars. One of them got crashed and totaled and etc, etc. Promotion at work, my wife changed works, everything up in the air. So it's been a while since I've actually played Out of the Park, but this one looks like it's really easy to see where the information is, and even for someone like me who doesn't know a lot about baseball, it's really clear to pick out what I need and how I can build this team and build this franchise into a dynasty. So I'm going to head off and do that. First impressions, very good. Very good. I like the look of it a lot better this year than in previous years. I like the depth, and I'm very intrigued. Very, very intrigued, in fact, by this perfect team mode, which will be coming out soon. So check the links in the description. Head on over. As I say, it's on Origin, it's on Steam, all from their own website. Go take a look yourself. Check their tutorials online. Check their Twitch channel, where they'll usually answer questions as they show off and play the game. And yeah, if you think something like this could be for you, then it probably is. If you're not too sure, there's usually a demo version out. I say give it a go, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. I'm off to make the Colorado Rockies the best team in the world. I'll see you next time, though. Thanks for stopping by. I'm Chris Orme. This has been a swift look at Out of the Park Baseball. A little review of my first thoughts as I'm looking at it for the very first time. Come back soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.